Doctor, we meet again.
We do.
We have something that needs real solving.
Yeah, and I actually do have a theory that, to me, makes a whole lot of sense.
Ooh.
We'll get to that in the wrap-up.
Yeah, because I've got some theories, too.
Because there is a whole bunch of shit that goes into this one that we're talking about today.
It's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Really, when you think about it, and you kind of delve into it, and it's like there's so many weird pieces that just don't fit together.
Initially looking at it, it seems like nothing. There's so many different pieces but through my theory, I feel like it could possibly make sense pretty well. Today we're talking about Dyatlov Pass.
Dyatlov Pass.
Dyatlov Pass.
Dead Mountain.
Dead Mountain. So when you texted me about this, I was like, you asked me if I had ever heard of it, and I was like, yeah, sounds familiar, sounds Russian. Pass means it's in the mountains. P-A-S-S, pass, not past. I know I slur my words a bit.
Well, it was in the past.
It was in the past.
It was in 1959.
So I was like, Russian mountain expedition type thing. Okay, I do believe that I have heard of this, and yeah, as it turns out, going and researching the stuff, I have heard about it, and did think it was very strange at the time, and it was still for me, the last I had heard, it was kind of an unsolved mystery type thing. As they say now, they have solved it.
No, they haven't.
But
that's why we're here.
That's why we're here.
I mean, the excuses they gave are not that great.
Yeah.
So we'll take care of it. We got this. Don't worry about it.
So yeah, the story is that there are this group of mountaineers. Again, this is 1959 Soviet Union. And there's this place in the Ural Mountains, which is a very remote set of mountains in the Soviet Union. And this is taking place in February. So, I mean, February in the Soviet Union, in pretty much the Arctic region of the Soviet Union. So, I mean, it's fucking freezing cold, and it's going to be snowy. So it's deep snow, sub-zero temperatures, and they're going on this hiking expedition that's supposed to last, I think, 16 days. And they're going to cover, it's 220 miles or something like that they're going to cover in 16 days.
Can I just say every part of that sounds awful?
Yeah.
Walking 220 miles, nope.
Yeah.
16 days out in the cold in February, nope.
And this is beginning of they leave on, I don't know if it's the end of January or February 1st when they leave. Somewhere around that time frame. So it's not even here in Utah, February, the beginning of February is still fucking winter.
Yeah. I don't even like February in Utah. And we're in the high desert.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, you're still looking at sub-freezing temperatures. Of course, that's below 31 degrees or something, 30 degrees? 32. So yeah, you're still below freezing temperatures. Of course, we were talking about Fahrenheit, right? Yeah. Well,
Fahrenheit is 0.
Oh, Celsius.
Celsius is 32, I believe.
Yeah.
I'm not that kind of doctor.
Yeah, I'm a geologist.
Theorist.
Still a wrong doctor. So, there's this group of 10 hikers, most of which are going to this Ural Mountain Tech School. It's like a college. And most of them are experienced, all of them are experienced hikers. And in the Soviet Union at the time, everything that you did kind of had to go back to like the party, the Communist Party. So like anything that you did had to have some kind of reason for why you're doing things. And so they had a class system of like experience in hiking, and if you're a higher class, you can lead expeditions of lower class hikes. And so all the people on this expedition were at least class 2. Some of them are class 3 hikers. But they were all taking this expedition to obtain their class 3 hiking status so that they can then lead class 3 hikes for other people or whatever. And of course it was like a researching the terrain and how the indigenous people who live there survive and those types of things. So they were going out, they're equipped with stuff from the university, cameras and food and all the shit that they need for this type of thing, and they've all been on these types of expeditions before, so it's not like they were inexperienced or didn't have much experience. Anyways, they set out, and 3 or 4 days into it, they get to this one section of their trek was named Dead Mountain. From what I looked up, it wasn't really called Dead Mountain. That's a bad translation. They called it it kind of translates to that, but what they called it that was because nothing on that mountain grew, so it was so high or whatever, it was above the timber line, so it was like there was nothing up there. So like there was no vegetation and shit like that. So it wasn't like a death mountain. So they go and they're trying to make it over this pass, and they're supposed to reach their next like checkpoint of their trek, and then so they're leaving from one checkpoint to another checkpoint. It's supposed to take them a certain amount of hours, and they're supposed to telegraph back to the campus to let them know that they made it and where they're at. And so a few days go by when they're supposed to check in, and this is like early February. They don't really get too concerned about it because these expeditions often kind of fall behind and stuff happens, and so they give them a few extra days. And I think it was like a week or 8 days, 9 days after they were supposed to check in that somebody was finally like, okay, we got to go see what the fuck is going on.
Yeah.
So even after that, they don't check in for like 8 days, and so they decide they need to get a party together to go search for these people. Still, they have to get like the government's or the party's okay with this, so that takes like another 12 days. So when they finally go out to go and find where these people are not, where are they? There should be from here, somewhere in between here and here. And so when they finally do track down their location and find their tent, it's now the 26th of February, so it's been almost a month that they've been missing. Mm-hmm. And that's where this whole mystery starts to unfold.
Yeah. One of the documentaries I watched, the guy was saying that, for one, there was an issue with dating. So it's like the search party was mounted on March 6th, but somebody miswrote the date and put February 6th, which showed that they started the search party way before their like cutoff line to start a search party was. Huh. So it was just like that's why that's where the kind of like controversy starts, is why would they start mounting the expedition to look for them like a week before that they were supposed to do that, but it was just like a miswritten date, which is not really controversy in my opinion.
Yeah.
Everything was a manual record back then.
Yeah.
I miss
Especially if you're living in the Ural Mountains in fucking Russia at the time, you're like, ooh, what month is this?
Who knows?
March or February?
It's fucking cold. That's all I know.
I know it's cold still. It's still winter.
It's always winter here. It's the fucking Siberia.
So yeah, I mean, a miswrite and a date. There's a lot of things that are weird about like the transcriptions and like the documents coming in after, like the medical reports and stuff. But we'll get to that and stuff. So they go out looking for these people, and it's actually one of the indigenous tribe members that lives in the area, locals, that finds the site, the tent. And so, like, he lets the authorities or whoever the search party people know that they found the site. So they finally get to the site, and they find the tent that they were using. And the tent is kind of trampled down. There's snow on top of the tent, flattened down, and there's a hole in the middle of the tent that looks like it was cut from the inside. And then there's a row of footprints, single file line footprints that leave from the tent. I think it was like 800 meters downhill to the tree line. And that's where they found the first 2 bodies.
Yeah. So, the cutting of the tent from the inside is super weird, because that's your only shelter out there in the frigid cold. Why would you cut the side of the tent to get out instead of walk out of the fold like you're supposed to?
Yeah.
Which is weird. But these bodies are found, most of them are undressed.
Yeah.
They're in their underwear or sleepwear, that sort of thing. Only one of them was actually reasonably dressed for the cold, but even then he was missing a lot of his cold weather gear.
Yeah.
But they had to find the other bodies even further away. And that was part of the expedition. This guy was talking about using this tool to gauge depth of the snow, and he stuck it down in the snow and he felt something soft, so they dug it out, and it was like 9 feet down or something like that. And that's where they found 4 of the bodies. Mm-hmm. One of which was still, he was the guy who was dressed, but everybody else was the same, with wearing their underwear or not wearing boots or literally wearing like shorts and a t-shirt type of thing.
Yeah.
Super weird.
It is weird. So what actually happened was there was initially supposed to be 10 people in this party. As they started, one of the guys, who was actually one of the people that like organized the whole thing, ended up getting called by the government and saying that he needed to go and do like community service for some shit. So he had to leave the group, so there was only 9 people on this expedition. So they found the first 2 bodies, and it was like they followed the tracks down to the tree line where there was the 2 bodies, the first 2 bodies that they found, and they had kind of weird injuries on their body, and they were sitting under this, or they were laid out under this big, they called it a cedar tree, and they had a fire there, so they were both dead, frozen, weird injuries all over their bodies,
strange discoloration of the skin.
And one of them was like foaming at the mouth, but he was foaming like he had this liquid that was like gray liquid foam that was coming out of his mouth, which is odd. Like, what the fuck is that? So they start spreading out from there, and they actually went back up the trail towards the tent and that's where they found the next 3 bodies. Was 1 female and 2 males. They all had like scrapes and bruises all over their hands, like they'd been in a big fight or something. Almost all of them actually had these, looked like they'd been in a fist fight or something, just like abrasions and stuff all over their fists. These 3 bodies that they found, they ruled to be, they died of cold. Hypothermia. And then it wasn't until the middle of May where they found the other 4 bodies, about 60 yards further down into the brush in a ravine. And these bodies looked like they'd been crushed by something, like chest cavities totally collapsed, like broken ribs, like fractured skulls, like really terrible.
One guy had the side of his skull was caved in and his ribs were crushed, and one of the women was found in there and her ribs were crushed so bad that it pierced her organs, and that takes a lot of force.
Yeah.
But those are the ones that are found under the snow.
Yeah.
One of them was missing a tongue, and I think 2 of them were missing their eyeballs.
Yeah.
Completely missing their eyeballs.
Yeah.
Which is kind of a sign of carrion around, like vultures or crows, that sort of thing. But not up there. Too cold.
Possibly.
So the other thing that I find super weird about it is that the bodies all had traces of radiation on them.
Well, there was, I think, 3 bodies that were found that had traces of radiation on them. So there was 2 guys that were in the expedition that actually worked in like a nuclear plant type place. And there had been a nuclear meltdown at this plant that they worked at, and they were part of the party that was like in there cleaning it up.
A nuclear meltdown in the Soviet Union?
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Yeah. So they said that this nuclear plant that melted down was actually bigger than the Chernobyl incident, but it was in it was a more remote place, so it wasn't as affected. People weren't as affected by it as Chernobyl, because Chernobyl was kind of a bigger town or whatever.
Yeah, it's right next to Pripyat, which has a population of, I think, tens of thousands of people.
Yeah, and so this one was kind of a more remote thing, so it was a bigger meltdown and a bigger release of radioactive material, but it was farther out where there wasn't a population around it. But these 2 guys worked in that cleanup in that area, and were like, so it could have been radiation getting into their clothes, and it was just clothes that they actually took with them on the expedition. So it was 2 of the bodies, the 2 guys that actually worked in the plant or this cleanup operation, and the third one was one of the women, but she was wearing the sweater of one of those guys. Because after people died, it looks like, okay, this guy's dead, I'm taking his fucking socks. I'm taking his sweater.
Because even after they left, a few of them made it back to the tent.
Yeah.
Shortly after. And those are the ones that were found near the tent.
Right. So there's all types of weird stuff, and like in the expedition, of course they were going out there for research, like I said before, and so they had cameras, and a lot of them were like journaling, and so like a lot of this stuff was in their records of what they were doing, and they also were taking pictures of a lot of the shit that they were doing. So there was all of that stuff was found inside of the tent. And so what's really weird is that like when they found the tent, they found food, their axes, all their knives. I think all of their parkas were still inside there, like multiple skis and ski boots, and so all their shit was in there. Not like they didn't have it with them and just like got lost or something in the snow. So really the question is, why did they leave the tent? What happened that made them leave the tent? So that's when the theories come in of what made them leave their tent the way that they did.
Well, and I think it's easy to discredit a lot of it right off the bat. So the Soviet Union's answer was they died from an avalanche. Okay, if they died from an avalanche, how did you see the tent? How did you know that there was still footprints there? An avalanche would just cover everything, right? So that one's just out the window. The other one that I really like is the Yeti theory, that they were attacked by a Yeti, the mythical Russian creature, you know?
Yeah.
But if there was a Yeti attack, wouldn't you see Yeti prints too?
You would think. And where that theory comes in is that in one of the photographs, there's like pictures of like them all in groups and like having a good time, whatever, and then pictures of one guy that's like kind of like playing around in the snow and like he falls down in the snow, kind of showing how deep the snow is. And it looks like where they're at, the snow is like at least 5 or 6 feet deep.
Mm-hmm. That's the soft snow. That's not even counting the pack.
Right. And so there's one picture that shows a figure in the trees, like kind of poking out from behind the trees, and that's where people say did they photograph this Yeti? Were they being chased by this figure? And actually, the people that live in that area have kind of stories or myths about creatures that live there called Minsk, which is kind of like a Yeti type creature, and you know, they have like bear culture, which they kind of like worship bears and tell stories about bears. And then these mythical creatures that are the Minsk, who are the protectors of the forest, and they don't really like when people invade their territory, so that was kind of where people are coming up with this theory of that it's a Yeti or a Minsk type being, and they're using this photograph as evidence of what they caught.
So I like the Yeti theory. I just think that there's not enough evidence for me to believe it.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, with the footprints or lack thereof, and if a Yeti attacked, wouldn't the Yeti break through the outside going to the inside? It just doesn't make sense to me.
And if a Yeti attacked them, why would he get them out of the tent and then make them walk in a single file line down to the trees and then like kill 3 or 4 of them and let 2 of them, like the other ones, freeze to death? And it looks like they all died within maybe 5 or 6 hours of each other, the whole party, but it was in different stages people were dying, like. So yeah, I mean, I do like the Yeti story just because it involves a Yeti.
Yeah, it's a cryptid.
And that'd be like super tight if, you know, not that they all died, but like that they proved that there was a Yeti out there.
Yeah.
But I have a hard time believing the Yeti theory.
Yeah, even as for the photograph, I get why people would lean toward that, but when you see it, you're like, that could be anything. Yeah. That could be one of the guys out there taking a shit behind a tree.
Yeah. I saw one video that was a kind of a deeper analysis of the video, of the picture, and kind of cleaned up the picture a little bit, and was talking about how you can see 2 different shades of color in the bottom and the top, so it's like a different color of pants and jacket. Yeah. And then you can clearly see like how it's cinched around the head, so it's like a hoodie zipper. So to me, seeing that, it looks a lot more like a person. And if you look at the other pictures of one of the guys' name was what is the place called?
Dyatlov. Igor Dyatlov.
Yeah. So he was the one that was taking pictures of himself, or somebody was taking pictures of him, like playing in the snow and shit. And if you would make those pictures blurry, it would probably look like the same figure because of the coloration of what he's wearing and how his hat is and shit like that. So in my mind, it looks like him somebody was taking pictures of him. Possibly they had heard the stories of the Yeti and then were kind of like trying to making a joke.
Because you can see in the pictures, like, his coat's a different color than most everybody else's.
Right.
Where they're wearing like a drab green or a brown, but his is a little bit more like white in a way, or gray.
It's like a tannish, like a faded out military, like super faded military olive, but really light colored.
Yeah, so I gotta throw that one out.
Yeah.
Like you said, it would be really cool.
Would be.
Because there would be some evidence, but there's not enough for me to buy it.
Yeah, and there's no, like, Yeti tracks around the camp.
Yeah. I mean, even the native Mansi people and having their stories is no different than us having Bigfoot stories.
Right.
Because it's kind of the same cryptid lore type deal. You know, living out in the remote wilderness where it's almost uninhabitable for most humans without shelter. But yeah, it just, I don't buy it. I want to, but I can't.
So we can bust that one. Just take that one off the docket.
That's two right off the top.
So there's another theory that it was UFO related.
Yes.
UAP related.
Because within the camera roll, the 24th picture is an unfocused picture, but it has a series of white lights. Not orange like a campfire would be, but white. And it's like one kind of in the bottom center and then kind of a series of curved lights. Now, they tested some double exposure stuff and things like that and didn't come up with any. It's one solid picture. It's just out of focus. And that's where the UFO theory comes in.
Yeah, to me, that picture, if it's the one I'm thinking of, is a little bit questionable because it was the last frame that was taken. But when they found the camera, it had been loaded to take the picture. So to take the film out, the person who was developing the film had to take a picture. So that's the last frame that's being shot. So is he just in like a place where he's getting ready to develop the film, clicks it, and then takes the film out, and that's what he got, was just some fucking random ass picture of the lights in his fucking in the room that he was in.
It could be some other kind of photographic artifact of some kind. I didn't look super deeply into it to like understand the history of that camera or that kind of film or anything. It's very possible, but it's also possible that they captured a UFO.
Yeah.
This is one that I find really hard to discredit.
So that camera was actually found inside the tent. So there was 3 cameras that were found inside the tent, and then one camera that one of the guys was holding when he died. So he had it on him for some reason, and he was actually the one that was like almost fully dressed. So why was he fully dressed? Why did he have this camera on him? Well, I think that he was probably outside taking pictures of the sky, maybe taking pictures of the moon or taking pictures. So this guy that was outside, he's actually the last guy to join the expedition. He actually wasn't supposed to be on the expedition. It was like within the last 3 days he joined the party. And he was the oldest member. He was like 38 years old. Yeah. He was a World War I veteran. But he had a kind of a spotty military career where it was like, it seemed like they were actually forcing him into a position in the Ural Mountains because they wanted to fucking get rid of him. Yeah. And so that's where like the military type stuff comes into play also, is that there are reports that the military there were testing out like air-to-land mines. And so they were dropping mines and having them explode in the middle, like just on the way down. And so his roll of film that was capped, that they developed, I think there was a series of like 10 pictures and they were all look like they're lights in the sky. Those ones to me are more compelling for UFO evidence or like UAP type stuff. What is he taking pictures of? And they're all different pictures, and it's like I said, it's the last like it's either 10 or 12 pictures, a series of pictures, and they're all different. They all look different.
Yeah.
So what was he doing outside at night while this other stuff is happening, apparently?
Yeah.
Because he's the only one that's fully dressed mostly. And to me, that's weird.
It is weird, and I also think about, the camera was found on him when he died. I think he would have had the wherewithal to like tuck it into his jacket, because if not, it's going to be exposed to the elements, and that snow is eventually going to seep into the camera, ruin the film, and everything else. So it's either he was already outside taking pictures, or he had the wherewithal to grab the camera on the way out. And more than likely, he was already outside taking pictures, but it's like, what are those pictures? If they're UFOs, it gives a little bit more credibility to the radiation thing. I mean, not to discredit, they were part of that cleanup team, but there have been many issues of UFOs interacting with humans that leaves radiological effects.
Right.
So there's some credibility there.
Yeah.
But there's another theory, and equally possible. But what if the lights that you see, there's like a string of, the lights, and then there's that one in the bottom center. What if those are flashlights from KGB members?
True.
Because what if he was just outside taking a piss, taking pictures of the night sky, and then he sees these lights coming down the mountainside, gets a picture of it thinking, oh, this is weird, tucks away his camera, and the KGB decide, these guys saw something they shouldn't have seen, which could have been some kind of testing facility like the airdrop mines or rockets or whatever, and decide, we got to take these guys out.
Yeah. Maybe they came across the prison that they were keeping Hopper at.
Very likely. Or they found one of the sites that had like the fucking portal thing.
Yeah.
But that would also give credibility to why everybody's knuckles were all fucked up. They're fighting off these KGB guys.
Yeah.
Then there's the issue of tracks. Did the KGB guys leave tracks, or did they know to cover them up? I would think they'd be experienced enough in that field to make people disappear that, hey, grab this branch and brush away our tracks as we leave.
Yeah.
So I love the UFO thing, and I think it's very plausible. But I also think the KGB thing is very plausible. Because even during the search and rescue, there was KGB just watching them.
Yeah.
How did they know they were KGB? I don't know. It's not like they wear a fucking sign on their neck that says, hey, I'm KGB. Maybe they just stand there looking all sus, like, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. They just scared him out of their tent. So, yeah, there's another theory that has to do with katabatic wind. Have you heard this one?
I don't think so.
So katabatic wind is a phenomenon that happens in certain areas like Greenland, a lot of the Arctic areas where it's mountainous and cold. And it has to do with like severe cold, like coming in all at once and then creating an atmospheric pressure differential, and creates these huge winds that sweep up canyons. And they come out of nowhere, and it's almost like a hurricane force wind. But with these winds, it also produces sound on the wind, and it's below 20 decibels, the sound.
Enough to make you crazy.
Yep.
Okay, I see.
It's, what is that called? Infrasound?
Infrasound.
Infrasound. We talked about this in the last episode, or one of the last episodes that we did, where sound below 20 decibels, 18 being like the frequency that makes you kind of hallucinate. but it can make your eyes go weird, make you have like panicked feelings and start feeling on edge or like paranoid. So that's another theory, is that these winds are known to happen in this area, and could have been a factor.
Man, I gotta say, I haven't heard that one, but that actually seems the most likely, because one of the prevailing theories is that they all went crazy and they were fighting each other. And that's why somebody cut a hole in the tent so they could get away, because they were being attacked. The eye thing, like making your eyes twitch, would probably explain why one guy was missing his eyes. He's just like, fuck this! Boop! Tongue missing, maybe somebody was making a sound, and maybe there's a weird acoustic reverberation and somebody was like, stop that shit, yanked his tongue out. God, man, that one's actually kind of my favorite right now. I'm leaning into that one.
Yeah, when I heard that one, I was like, oh man. Maybe just because we talked about this and we were like hyped up about it and shit. But I do like that one a lot.
I do like that, and it is cool that you remember the name Catabolic. It's right up there with Diatomaceous Earth. So, good job!
Hey, I had to repeat it to myself like catabatic. It's like catatonic, but catabatic.
Yeah,
that was a tough one to remember.
I like that theory the most, for sure. Because there are places on Earth that have weird effects on human biology, especially the human brain. It's like that one place in the UK that has like the row of rocks that all produce like magnetism, where there's no cell service or anything like that, but people stand in between these rocks and they either have like negative effects or they feel very euphoric, where it's kind of like messing with the synapses of your brain. So that's interesting, and I'm surprised I didn't come across that.
Yeah, they talk about it in like 3 or 4 videos that I watched. They talk about it, but they talk really briefly about it. There was one video that I watched where this guy, I think, what is his channel called? Something Tomb. But he has a whole series on this expedition. I think he has like 5 or 6 videos, but then he has one where he puts them all together and it's like 3 hours long, and he talks about every single person in detail and what they were wearing and their backstories, and that's where I found the information about the 2 guys that worked in this facility and shit.
Yeah, because I never came across that.
But yeah, then he goes into depths about, well, not really depths, but he really explains how this catabatic wind could have had an influence on what happened and why they kind of freaked out and left all their shit behind, which I think in my theory plays a part, but not as big. It does play a part, but
yeah, I mean, the whole like being dressed down thing could be a byproduct of hypothermia, and I can't remember the name of it, but once your body reaches a certain core temperature, your mind shifts and you think that you're incredibly hot, so you undress. Oh, God, that's going to drive me nuts.
Yeah, it's something undressing. It's like, it's some phenomenon. I know what you're talking about.
But they feel like their body is incredibly hot, so they dress down, thinking that they're going to cool off.
Yeah, a lot of people...
It's paradoxical undressing.
Paradoxical undressing, that's what it is. If you listen to the Missing 411, this guy has a whole book series, and they do podcasts about it, and he actually has a TV series or a YouTube channel series called the Missing 411, and it's like mostly about people who go missing in national parks, which is a very, really, like, common thing, with it not heavily talked about, but like happens quite a lot more than you would want to believe.
Yeah, and it's crazy when you overlap the map of Bigfoot sightings in the U.S. with the map of people missing in national parks, and there's a lot of overlap.
Yeah, and oftentimes you'll find people go missing, and then they'll find the body, and the body is like they're naked, but then they'll find their clothes somewhere like a couple miles away, like neatly folded and put like set on a rock or something, but they took off all their clothes. But that's what they say is this is what is it?
Catabatic wind?
The
catabolic or paradoxical
undressing. That they, for some reason, are so cold that they think that their body's hot and they think that they're overheating, so they start taking off layers. But at that point, your mind is not working correctly, so you just like take off your clothes, fold them up. I'll sit them right here, and then I'll go see what's over here and get lost.
Yeah.
And die somewhere else, not even near your clothes. So
I definitely think that's part of it.
Yeah.
Regardless of if it's aliens or KGB or the Yeti or whatever, paradoxical undressing has to be part of it.
Yeah.
Now, the catabatic wind thing, was that a naturally occurring phenomenon, or was it helped by military testing of some kind? I mean, a rocket taking off is going to create thrust and downdraft to push the wind out. So maybe there was a rocket site, which is one of the theories, and when it took off, it just thrusted that catabatic wind right at them. Then they saw it, and the KGB was on top of them. So it could be both.
Yeah, could be.
I gotta hear your theory. This is driving me fucking nuts. Let's go.
Okay, I've foreshadowed different pieces and parts of my theory in this whole spiel that we've been going on. So my theory is they have set out. They're already falling behind, right? So when they get to this pass that they're supposed to go over and then kind of drop over this shoulder in this mountain range and then drop down to get to their next checkpoint, they're already late. So this is what's going on in my mind. They're already late, and at this point it's fucking snowing like crazy. It's a blizzard, and so it's late in the day, and they're thinking about, so in the records it shows that they did make a cache of like storage food and like some of their gear a little bit further to the south where they were camped at. So they were going to cache stuff there so that when they go and then they're on their way back, they can pick up the rest of their supplies and then make it the rest of the way. So it took them longer than it should have to build this cache and put their shit where they needed to put it. And so as they start going up and over this pass, it gets dark and it's a fucking blizzard. And so they make a really poor decision to camp right there where they're at. And it's kind of at the bottom of this shoulder, almost in the middle of not a valley, but kind of a saddle. Mm-hmm. And they're right at the bottom of this thing. And so they like, okay, let's get in this. We got to take cover. So they set up their tent, dig a little wall for shelter from the wind. Dig kind of a platform out for their tent to sit in. One tent is like a 12-man tent, and there's nine of them. So they all get in there, and they're kind of get settled in, and it's a fucking blizzard outside. There's two guys that are kind of, when they're found, they're kind of partially almost all the way dressed. I think that one of those guys was supposed to be like the guy that's watching the camp as everybody else sleeps. And the other guy was the guy that had the camera, and he was taking pictures outside. So I think that he was probably outside the whole time this catabatic wind is blowing snow up and over the top of their tent. So behind their tent set up here, and it gets steeper and steeper and steeper. The snow drift behind the tent gets steeper and steeper. At one point, that snow slips, causing a mini avalanche, not a huge fucking full-blown, all the snow in the valley is wiping out the valley, just like maybe 30 yards of snow comes down over the top of their tent. And so everybody's trapped inside, except for maybe this one guy who's outside. So if it's 3 or 4 feet, 30 yards of snow that comes over them 3 or 4 feet, they're buried underneath 500 or 600 pounds of snow, each person. So they're in their tent. The tent gets pushed down on top of them. They're now buried between 4 and 5 feet of snow on top of them. So they all just start punching their way, trying to make space, which is causing the bruising on their fists from that they find. So they're punching a canvas tent with the limited room that you have to make room to move around. You know, they're dressed in whatever they're going to sleep in, long underwear, maybe sweatpants. One guy was found with a sheath, a knife sheath, but they didn't find the knife on him. So for some reason he had his knife on him and made enough room to jab and cut the tent open, and then so they all pile out from this hole in their tent. So now they're outside, it's fucking snowing and blowing hard, and so like protocol when you're in a whiteout like that is you walk in a single file line. So they group up, get together, and they walk in a single file line down to the tree line to where they can kind of take cover. So they go down, they get to the edge of the tree line, and some of them are injured, some of them are okay, but they all kind of have like a little bit beat up. And so from here, they make a decision. I think one guy was probably severely injured already. So they make a decision to split up. They didn't have any of their tools and shit with them, so they like get to the tree line, start to build a fire, and be like, fuck, we need our axes, we need shit to survive. So one group, so they break up into teams of 3. Well, a team of 3, a team of 4, and a team of 2. And this team of 2 is supposed to build a fire, maintain the fire, so that they can see where the tree line is through the blizzard, while 3 of them go back up to the tent, get all their shit that they're going to need, and bring it back down. The other 4 are going to go over and make a snow cave. So that's what they do. And that's where they were kind of found, in this ravine where the snow was deeper. And so those 4 go over, dig out a snow cave, and then they line the bottom of the snow cave with pine boughs and shit like that. Kind of making it so that when those guys get back from the tent, they can all get together and go back over to the snow cave and survive the night, because it's a crazy blizzard. For some reason, those 3 start hiking up, but it's 800 meters or something like that from where they were at to where and it's uphill in a blizzard.
Yeah, that's assuming they didn't walk like this until they found it.
Yeah, and it's like fucking 4 feet of snow, so every single step is fucking
exhausting.
Yeah, it'll take an hour to walk fucking 800 meters and that kind of shit, if you know where you're going. So I think the 2 guys that were at the tree, one of them had been injured already, so they're trying to maintain this fire, but all they have is like the sticks and twigs that are around them. So they even said that when they found them, like a bunch of the branches had been broken off from this tree that they were underneath. So I think that both of those guys were taking turns climbing up and getting whatever branches they could break off, bringing it back down to try to maintain this fire. At one point, one of them that went up the tree fell, and then that's the guy that was found with like abrasions all over his body, and he had this gray foam coming out of his mouth. That gray foam comes from like an impact. When you get hit really hard in the chest and you have this like phlegm or whatever that comes out. That's what that's from. They said that that's what they can prove. That's what happens when something like that happens. So he was already not doing very good. The other guy couldn't maintain the fire, and they fucking froze. They died within an hour of being out in this. I think they said that night the temperature was like negative 29 or something like that.
Which is fucking cold. The other people lasted longer because they were moving, keeping their bodies a little bit warmer, but they were stationary for the most part, trying to maintain this fire. They said these guys were found with burn marks on their hands and feet, but I think it was probably because they've already lost feeling in their hands, and so they're sticking them too close to the fire, so they're just burning their fucking hands up. So those guys probably died first. So these guys that went to go build this snow cave went back to go tell those guys, hey, we're finished. Where's the guys that came? Go get the rest of the team. Should be back with the stuff from the tent at this point. And so they go back there, find these two guys are already dead. And so they start stripping off their clothes and putting on extra clothes, You're not going to need this.
Yeah. So as they're making their way up, they just one by one die making their way up to the tent.
Yeah.
One person drops, and then they'll like scavenge a sock or a fucking scarf or whatever from one guy, and then the two go, and then so they don't even make it to the tent. They just get like maybe 3/4 of the way there, and they're dead already. So the group of four come back, see that these guys are dead. There's nobody coming back from the tent, so they go back to go try to find their snow cave that they built. So where they built their snow cave was right on top of this ravine, and there's a river running underneath them. They don't know there's a river there, but it's still running underneath them. So there's kind of a snow bridge or an ice bridge, and then a couple meters, and then water running underneath. And so they built their thing there. They get down inside there. As they're in there, it starts warming shit up. Snow underneath them melts, and they just fucking drop through. And then all the snow caves in on top of them and smashes all of them.
I think you just solved the whole fucking thing. Every part of what you were saying made total sense. Like the pine boughs and shit, trying to make a layer, because there was a bunch of it found.
Yeah.
And then that's where the bodies were that were like crushed. Like the girl whose ribs punctured her organs, and the guy with the head wound and broken ribs. Like, fucking solved it, man. Good job, doctor.
Thank you, sir.
I didn't even help with that one.
Well, I watched like 10 different videos, and they all had like different little pieces, and I was like, in my mind, these people are thinking of the weather that they found them in. They're like, how could this be? What? They're only in like 2 feet of snow. It's like, yeah, but that was 2 months later.
Yeah.
They found them in May, where all this probably 10 feet of snow had already melted.
Yeah.
So they were up way higher before they dropped down into the
even in the snow cave, they were found under like 9 or 10 feet of snow.
Yeah.
Versus the other ones who were, mostly uncovered.
Yeah.
Like the guys near the tent were mostly uncovered, and the ones in the tree line were barely covered because the trees block some of the snow.
Yeah.
Makes sense to me. I really wanted something like supernatural or conspiracy. But
so did I.
Yeah. I think you totally sold me on it. Even the cutting of the tent. Because when you look at the pictures, it's not just like a straight line cut. It almost like is kind of sickle shaped.
Yeah.
So if the tent is folded on and you're just like snow packed and just trying to cut, and the tent's all folded up and fucked up, yeah, you're not going to get a straight line.
Yeah.
And the guy was found with a sheath but no knife. You're not going to worry about trying to put your knife back in the sheath. You're just like, get me the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
So fucking solved it, man.
Maybe I should be a detective instead of a doctor.
I think you were like a forensic scientist on that one.
Yeah.
You're just looking around like a tracker. Like,
I was like YouTube forensics, dude. Okay, I'll take this piece here. I was like Minority Report, like fucking on my
Oh.
imaginary shit, like take this and throw that away. Fucking
Not enough detail.
Yeti, I
Did you
like
have-
you, but fuck off.
Did you have the gloves on too? Did you watch the movie The Devil's Pass?
I didn't really have time. I am gonna watch it though. Did you? Have you seen it?
Yeah, I've seen it a couple times. As far as like horror movie goes, it's not amazing, but it's an interesting enough movie to me to watch it.
Yeah.
I don't want to spoil the ending for you, but basically it's about these group of American college students. They want to follow the trail for the people who died, and they want to kind of go see for themselves. And they basically get to where the hikers were, and then shit starts happening, and there actually is an avalanche. But that's as far as I'm going to go with it. I want you to actually see it and tell me what you think.
Yeah. No, yeah, I wanted to watch it, but
It,
didn't.
admittedly, it kind of fueled some of my KGB conspiracy stuff. And at that time in the Soviet Union, like during the whole Cold War, the KGB basically ran the whole country.
Oh, yeah.
You couldn't do anything without the KGB being there.
Yeah.
Even like everybody involved in Chernobyl was surveilled 100% of their time by the KGB.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, like I said, like in that time, it wasn't like now where you can just go hiking because you want to go hiking. If you wanted to do something, you had to submit your request to do something, anything,
Yeah.
and be like, okay, I'm going to do this. Well, why? Research for blah, 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 whatever. So, like, all of the citizens were pretty much fucking pretty well maintained by the KGB and fucking the party.
Mm-hmm.
Everything had to contribute to the party at
Yeah, it's
somehow.
the party. There's no alternative. There's
Right.
no Republican and Democrat. There's no red tie versus blue tie. It's the party.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. So yeah, I saw, I like looked up the movie that you were talking about, and I was like, oh, this has got to be the movie, but I didn't really have time to watch it. Mostly because I was researching and then fucking trying to pick up Easter eggs in Stranger Things.
Which I still need to watch season 5 or whatever season they're on.
Yeah.
Is it 5?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think so.
I still got to watch it. Yeah, I really wanted because it kind of goes in line with the stuff we talk about with conspiracies, is you wanted to involve the secret government organization. You wanted to involve UFOs. You want these little things that tip you into a different conspiracy hat to be true.
Yeah.
Like the radiation and the UFO connection. You want it to be there, but it's not. You want the Yeti thing to be real, but it's not.
Yeah, even watching, because I probably watched like 30 different YouTube channels or videos and listened to a couple different podcasts about this specific topic. But each one, like, you could tell which direction they were going and the way that they talked about the injuries or whatever. They kind of left out key details and just like cherry picked stuff that fed the narrative of what they were trying to put
There's
out.
definitely implicit bias
Yeah.
with different people talking about it because people kind of want their version of it to be true.
Yeah.
And it was definitely apparent in some of them.
Yeah.
I was watching this one documentary and this guy was trying to like retrace the steps and everything, and I didn't get all the way to the end, but he seemed to kind of be the most open-minded about, well, these are the facts, but we don't know. Let's go kind of find out. And to me, it was less about like the investigative part and more about, I just want to make a documentary. So, which is part of why I didn't finish it. But yeah, there are definitely channels that they want the UFO thing to be real, or they want the Yeti thing to be real, so they kind of ignore these things.
Yeah.
Brush this away, and it's UFOs.
Yeah.
But if you cover this back up and brush this away and this away, it was the KGB.
Yeah.
But they're all fun theories.
They are. That's why I watch so many different ones, because each one I would be like, okay, I think he's going to talk about it being aliens, or I think this
Yeah.
one's talking about, and it was like fun to go down this trail of like horseshit each
Yeah.
time. And I mean, yeah, they add in facts but leave out other facts that like paint their narrative in a more, you
Yeah.
know.
And even some of the podcasts I listen to, you can kind of see the through line. It's like another podcast may tackle a lot of conspiracies, but they all kind of end up in UFO territory.
Yeah.
Or this podcast is, they all kind of lead into cryptids, you
Yeah.
know. So there's definitely a bias there. And even in my own mind, I really wanted the UFO thing to be true because Russia, or more appropriately the Soviet Union at the time, there's a lot of UFO lore that we barely even tap into. I mean,
Yeah.
we're Americans, and we don't like focus on a lot of what happens in other countries. It's cold reality. But also, because of their communism, like there's not a whole lot that gets out, and
Right.
they don't kind of have like the same conspiratorial mindset that we have, where we know our government's lying to us, but they have to just accept it.
Yeah.
You know, so it's a whole nother avenue of UFO alien lore that we don't spend a whole lot of time on.
Yeah.
And that's part of why I wanted that to be true.
Yeah, if you look at a lot of the whistleblower people that are coming out, they'll talk about both Russia and China as having their own task force
Crash retrievals.
crash
and such.
retrievals, and then they'll talk about that's why the U.S. tries to keep this so secret, is so that they don't know what we have and we don't know what they have. So it's like we have to keep it secret so that they don't know what our capabilities are, and we can maintain this level of like supposed superiority technological wise. Like,
Sure.
yeah, okay, I guess we can say that.
Well, I think one thing that China and Russia have on us, and in the like crash retrieval thing, is they don't have to worry about compartmentalization in the same way that we do. Where we know from Bob Lazar's testimony, it's like they'll have this guy working on this, and this guy works on this, and this guy works on this, but you guys aren't allowed to talk.
Yeah.
Versus the communist parties is like, no, you guys work together, but if you get out of line, we're going to shoot you in the face. You know.
Yeah.
So it's like they can worry less about them, you know, overlapping their different fields because of they rule by fear. Because it's like, yeah, the propulsion guy should talk to the structure guy, but if you guys fuck around, we're going to kill you and your families.
Yeah.
And then you're like, gosh, well, can't really whistleblow.
Yeah, at the same time, though, that I could see that being a hindrance on, like, they have to get results, and so could they, like, make shit up more readily, be, like, influenced by, like, fear of death to fucking get results collectively?
Yeah, that's true. That is definitely a different aspect of it. But, yeah, Russia is just so mired in, you know, UFO controversy. I mean, you think about our own Project Paperclip post-World War II, Russia had the same thing. We basically split the scientists. Like, we're going to take these guys, you guys take
No,
those guys.
they took so we got like a third, and they took the other 2/3.
Yeah.
They took way more.
It's a shitload. And then you think about other weird mysteries from there, like Tunguska. And because it's easy to see, like, the UFO tie with that,
Yeah.
even though I think that was Tesla doing something, but that's unrelated. But yeah, I really wanted the fucking UFO thing to be true.
Yeah, and even those last 12 frames that the camera that the guy had with him, they say they could be just corrupted because he was laying in a fucking stream for 2 months before they found him, and the camera was in that stream, so the film could just be fucking fucked up.
Yeah.
But I still keep it open to, like, I think that's mostly what happened. What he was taking pictures outside of, I don't know. It could have been like Aurora Borealis. He was trying to take pictures of the northern lights. It could have been anomalies in the sky. It could have been he was taking pictures of the explosions that were going on. They said that they were doing detonations of these these mines they're dropping from the airplanes. I was like 20 miles away, but you could probably still see it from that distance, out in this fucking rural area. But
yeah, because there was a group of hikers that was in the same area like 2 weeks after them that saw something similar.
right.
There's lights in the sky and that sort of thing, which could still be UFOs, but it could also be military testing.
Yeah.
But those people...
Could just be flares from the prison. I'm sticking with the prison.
The prison, yeah.
Hopper's prison.
When you see Devil's Pass, you'll see my version of it. Yeah, like I was saying, that definitely heavily influenced my own perception of what happened is after watching that movie, because you go, yeah, could be.
Yeah.
It fills my tinfoil hat.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think we can call this one fucking solved.
Solved for reals.
Dude, and he did it solo. Yeah, I'm proud of you, Doctor.
Thank you, sir.
You did good. So, yeah, fucking, what was that? 64 years ago?
Yeah.
66 years ago.
Yeah.
So, fucking took 66
Case
years.
closed, boys and girls. Now, like some of the stuff I took from, like I said, this is just a theory that I picked and pulled from other people, but I think the biggest thing to look at is the weather of that night, of like, and the conditions of that night opposed to when they found them. And it was like, yeah, first bodies were found almost a month later, and then the last bodies were found, was that February, March, April, May, 3 months later.
Yeah.
So like missing eyes, missing tongue, by that point you're gonna have birds flying out and fucking pecking out eyeballs and tongues and shit like that. Those soft tissues are usually the first thing that scavengers will take.
Eyes first because of the water content.
Yeah. So a lot of that stuff, I think it's just that time frame in between that so much changed, even like where the bodies were found. If you're 10 feet in snow up here and then it melts down, you're going to go down the slope and then you'll be resting here. So you're like, there's no evidence here of why this person died, but could it be over here?
Yeah.
Who knows?
Like 20 feet away, but, 10 feet down.
Yeah.
Makes sense to me. Yeah, so, I mean, I think this is like the first conspiracy theory that we tackled that was just a matter of biological and meteorological effects.
Unfortunately, as shitty as those circumstances were, that seems the most logical. Like, shit just fucking happened. They were trying to survive and they just didn't make it.
I think the key takeaway, the number one thing to learn from this, is don't go hiking in fucking February in Siberia.
Yeah.
Stupid idea.
Stay at home.
Stay at home.
Drink vodka.
Sit by fire.
Sit by fire.
Listen to...
Make babies.
Make babies. Play chess.
Play chess.
Do you know what we do in
Play lots
Russia?
of checkers.
Lots of checkers. Watch TV, all 3 channels.
Watch KGB channel.
It's not propaganda.
It's information.
Information for strong country.
Eat borscht.
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 I've talked so much shit about borscht, but I bet it's really good.
It looks fucking good.
It's like tomato soup with meat in it.
Yeah.
Imagine dipping your grilled cheese in that and then get some ground beef in there.
Yeah, I've seen a few. There's this channel that I watch. Bald Guy Travels or something bald guy. And it's this guy, he just travels through a lot of Eastern European countries, like all the post-Soviet countries. And he just he'll go to like the most fucking obscure little tiny town and just talk to the locals and fucking, sometimes he'll go in there and eat with the family or whatever. I don't know why I watch it, but it's entertaining.
It sounds entertaining.
Yeah.
Like, I'm fascinated with other people's culture.
Yeah.
Because it's like, what was that one guy? George Zimmerman? He does the weird
Andrew
foods.
Zimmerman?
Yeah, Andrew Zimmerman, yeah, Bizarre Foods.
Yeah.
I love watching that because it's not just about, oh, I'm going to go eat grasshoppers. It's like I'm going to talk to them and understand why they eat grasshoppers and how it affects their culture, and then learn about their culture and
then try it.
And then have a new respect for it rather than just go, oh, that sounds gross.
Oh, you're weird. I'm not fucking eating those grasshoppers, dude.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to try it.
Even the way he kind of integrates himself into it. Like, there was one episode where I think it was goats. Like this village, basically, they raised these goats, but they made all these delicacies out of these different goat parts. And he wanted to be one that would, kill and slaughter the goat as kind of like a homage of I'm going to earn my meal kind of thing. And so the guys are like, okay, but we got to test you to make sure that you can shoot correctly because we want to put it down with zero pain. Maybe it was sheep. I can't remember. But they were like, well, here's a test. And they take a spent shotgun shell and they put it in the dirt and they give him a 22. And he's like, if you can't hit the primer from here, you can't do it. But it was just like part of their culture of you have to treat this animal with the utmost respect. And if you can't accomplish this physical task, you can't be part of that. You can help clean it or whatever, but you can't kill it. And to me, that was something that was showing like how devout their culture was, that it wasn't just like, yeah, go fucking cut its neck and then we'll skin it or whatever. And it's so interesting to me to see little details like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I understand why you watch it. I'm just saying.
Yeah, it's this weird fascination with, especially like obscure kind of very isolated groups.
Yeah.
It's just like, wow, man, people really like still live, or they took a different route than 90% of the world. Right?
Yeah.
They still live in this traditional way.
Well, and we as Americans, we're only really taught our own culture because we're like the big bad dude on the block.
Yeah.
So we don't learn a whole lot about the rest of the world in school. I mean,
especially in school.
Like, I would love to take a poll to see how many people know that Georgia is actually a country and not just a state. You know what I mean? Like,
Turkey's actually a country, not just a fucking bird.
not just a Thanksgiving meal or the new healthy bacon.
Yeah.
Do you like turkey bacon?
I'll eat it if somebody else makes it.
I love it, but it's got to be crispy.
Yeah.
Because when it's not like...
It's like a shoe strap or something that's not crispy.
It seems like you took a piece off of your Chuck Taylor and threw it in the pan. You know? But yeah, man, let's call this one solved.
Okay.
And you fucking did it.
I didn't do it alone, but,
You kind of did.
I did my thing on this one,
You cherry pick correctly. Unbiased.
All the fucking ripe cherries, like, that was no good. Fucking bird picked that one.
Then you made a pie out of it.
Yeah.
And that pie is truth pie.
Truth pie, have a slice.
Doctor.
Doctor.
Okay, love you. Bye-bye.
Bye.